Alright guys, so I wanted to go through a trade that I did because I thought it was fucking brilliant. And what do you know, it just happens to be on GameStop. So I already know you guys are really excited for this. It's gonna be oodles and noodles of fun. So let's go check out how GameStop looks. So GameStop, the ultimate meme stock. What happened recently? So gap up, huge rally, Roaring Kitty came back on social media, whatever, and you know what happens? Just complete chaos. So that's where we're at. Volatility is still way up there. Uh, Not nearly as crazy as the last pump and dump, though. As you can see, last time was a little bit more vicious, but nonetheless, I saw GameStop and wanted to take advantage of the volatility, and I wanted to trade it. I just didn't know how to trade it. So,
What do I know about GameStop? Do I know if it's going to go up? Do I know if it's going to go down? No, I don't know anything. I don't know shit. I don't know anything about any stock. I don't know where any stock is going to go. I don't have a crystal ball. I have no idea. Well, where do I think it's going to go? That depends on the time frame, right? I mean, 5 years, 10 years from now, is GameStop worth this much money? No, GameStop is not worth this. So it'll fall down back to where its value was supposed to be valued at. Now, if someone were to buy out GameStop in some magical way, they figure out how to start making a shitload of money, then maybe it'll stay up here. So I have a diagonal spread running on GameStop right now with selling the June 14th 30 put and buying the July 1937 put, creating a diagonal spread. And to be honest, I've never traded a diagonal spread like this before ever. When I open this up, this expiration, which is my front month, is about a month away. This one is about a month away from this one, which is a pretty far gap. Usually, when people are doing diagonal spreads or calendar spreads, it's really not 30 days apart unless your front month is maybe 60 days out or something. So yeah, this is a pretty big gap. I've never done that before with a 30-day gap between the expirations. The reason why I picked such a far gap is because I saw GameStop, and obviously, as option sellers, option writers, we tend to go for stocks with such high that have really high implied volatility. Not all the time, but generally speaking, that's what you want to go for, because higher implied volatility means the contracts are more expensive, and usually they're overpriced. So if you're selling these, then it's in your benefit. So what I did is, I knew I wanted to trade GameStop. I knew I wanted to take advantage of the option contracts being so expensive. I just didn't know how to. I came into option strat and I just started going through different strategies. Obviously, I started out with credit spreads. I always like to look at what different credit spreads are going on with GameStop, and it wasn't too appealing to me because I had to cover my risk to the downside, and I don't know how much to cover my risks to the downside for a credit spread, because with GameStop, I have no idea where it's going to go. I mean, in the long term, it's a pretty worthless company. So yeah, in the long term, it's going to go down, obviously. But as of right now, I have no idea what GameStop's going to do. I don't know if it could just rally to 100 or 200. I wanted to create a spread that's gonna cover all my risks, and this is what I came up with. I went through just hundreds and hundreds of different calendar spreads, different diagonal spreads, seeing which one I'm comfortable with, and that's really just how I got good at trading option spreads. It's just looking at risk profiles and just looking at them over and over and over, different ones, back to back to back. And I came up with this. The way I saw this trade, it was kind of like a free lunch trade. It was, even though there's no free lunch in trading, you know, whenever you're minimizing risk in one area, you're usually maximizing risk in another area, you know. So even like with such a high chance of profit, usually there's a downside to that, right? This trade though, it's kind of like to me, it's kind of like a free lunch trade. So let's look at this. You know, max profit 565. When I opened it, it was a little bit more. At the time of expiration, this could change because of volatility. That's my max profit. My max loss 663. I don't know if this has changed, but anyways, it's about same max loss, max profit, chance of profit 96%. This really hasn't changed since I opened it. It's pretty much been 95, 96, or 97%. And let's take a look at the Greeks. So this is the Greeks as of right now. I've held this spread for I think about like 9 days. So obviously these are going to change as well. But let's just go through the risk profile. This is today. I am currently up $162. I'm at a 23% gain. I really like this spread because, I mean, if we look to the downside, no matter what, even if the stock goes to zero, I can't lose money. So the least amount of money to the downside is still $37. Now to the upside, as of right now, my break even is about $47. GameStop would have to go past $47 for me to start losing money. As time passes, you know, obviously my tent of profitability opens up, and this is where it'd be at the time of expiration. If it lands around $30, that'll pretty much be my max profit. So let's just say that GameStop, right before this is about to expire, just has a parabolic explosion and goes to like 60 or 80. Well, normally when a stock is going up, volatility goes down. But with GameStop, it's a little different because, you know, of all this whole meme stock culture going on and all that, and, you know, Keith Gill, Roaring Kitty. GameStop can be an extremely volatile stock, you know, in both directions. So if GameStop were to just fly up, this volatility is not going to go down. It's going to go up. If GameStop were to go to 300, volatility goes to like 1,000. That's what it did last time, right? Last time in 2021 or whatever year, I forgot, when it was having a huge pump and dump. I remember looking at the option contracts, and they legitimately, like, the volatility was like at 1,000%. Okay, well let's look at this spread if I'm changing the volatility. So my break even right now about $46, but if implied volatility goes up, then my tent just gets wider and wider and wider, and my max profit goes up too. So let's just say GameStop goes to 300. You know, I'm pretty much covered, because if implied volatility goes up, then my break even just keeps moving and moving and moving and moving and moving and moving. The way I see it is there's really no risk to the upside either. I mean, and it's a delta positive trade. It's delta positive, it's Vega positive, no downside risk. To me, it's almost like a perfect trade. If someone else was holding it, they'd probably be like, you know, this is a good time to sell. They're already up this much. Let's see, what's the percentage? The spread is already up 25%. But me personally, I'm going to hold this spread because I don't think GameStop is really going to do anything. I think it's just going to bounce back and forth. I don't think it's going to go way up. I don't think it's going to go way down right now. I think there's too many people on both sides, too many participants on both sides who are either trying to push it up or push it down. And nobody wants to get caught in a huge freaking tank or rise. So not only that, but the thing with GameStop right now that differs from when it had a pump and dump back in the GameStop era. So back in 2021 or whatever, when it had a huge pump and dump, the reason why it had such a huge pump and dump is because there was so much short interest. And if stock starts going up too high, shorts got to cover their positions. But there's really not there's nowhere near as much short interest right now than there was before. So it can't have a short squeeze like it did before. And people are scared to the downside. People are scared to short it because they know what happened to those hedge funds that tried to short it last time. They got wrecked. So people are scared on the downside. People are scared on the upside. You have all these people just trying to basically gamble here. This is everyone's just trying to gamble here. That's where you make your money in options. Is if you really think about it, the options market is just a giant casino or a giant insurance dealer. That's how I look at the options market. So that's my thesis on GameStop. I don't know. I have no idea what GameStop's going to do. I don't know if it's going to go way down. I don't know if it's going to go way up. I have no fucking idea what GameStop is going to do. No clue. So how do I make money off of it? Am I going to try and guess which direction it goes? And am I going to try and play this directionally? Do I have the time for that? I'm working a job. I'm not sitting at a computer all the time. For me, this was the best way to trade GameStop. And everybody has their own strategies, their own opinions. To me, I feel like this is a trade that doesn't even need to be managed. Why do I have to manage it to the downside? There's no risk to the downside. And then to the upside, if volatility explodes, there's really no risk to the upside. So this is a trade I don't have to manage. I don't have to stress about. And in the options world, or I wouldn't say even in the options world, I'd just say in the trading world in general. In the trading world, if you're losing money, it's probably not, unless you just started out. It's not because you suck or you don't know what you're doing. It's because you don't have your psychology under control. In trading, risk management is pretty much everything. If risk management is the name of the game, and if your emotions cause you to go against your risk management, to back out on your plan or whatever, then you're going to lose money. So whatever style or strategy of trading where your psychology is most at ease, that's how you want to trade. That's you gotta stick to whatever keeps your psychology locked in. I know some traders that are way better traders than me, that make way more money than me, that can't trade credit spreads and iron condors when the it has like a 80% chance of profit, like a $1,000 loss or $2,000 loss with a $300 or $500 max profit. They're looking at that like, I can lose this much and I can only make this much. That doesn't sound fair to me. They can't trade like that because they're coming from like, as a momentum trader or a directional trader. So they're looking at it like, okay, I want to risk 1 to make 8. I don't want to risk 8 to make 1, even though my chances of success are way higher. I don't want to take that because to me it just doesn't add up. So even though he's a great trader and he makes a shitload of money, he can't trade certain ways because it messes with his psychology. So there's a million ways to trade. There's a million ways to make money in the markets. What you need to figure out is which way is going to keep you most at ease to where your psychology is still intact. For me, this is a stress-free trade. I don't got to worry about anything. I could just have it sit there, let theta decay take its do its thing, and that's it.